Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where you were texting a girl nonstop, showering her with attention, always being available, only for her to start pulling away? You text first. She replies hours later. You double text. She leaves you on read. You plan dates. She suddenly gets too busy. And the worst part? The moment you start pulling back, when you stop texting, stop chasing, everything changes. Suddenly, she starts checking in. She likes your posts. She asks, "Hey, are you okay?" It's confusing, right? Well, my friend, today we're going to break down exactly what happens when you ignore a woman, why it works, why it drives her crazy, and why sometimes the best way to make her want you is to do the exact opposite of what you've been taught. But before we dive deep, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, because what I'm about to reveal will completely shift the way you handle women forever. And trust me, you don't want to miss this. So sit back, pay close attention, and let's get started. 1. At first, she won't care, or so it seems. I have a question for you. Have you ever found yourself in a scenario where you began to distance yourself from a woman, for example, by ceasing to be the one who was constantly available and sending initial texts, and she just didn't seem to mind? That's when it really gets to you, isn't it? Perhaps if I separate from her, she'll see my value. You convince yourself. However, what if instead, absolute quiet? It's as if she completely disregards it. No phone calls, no texts, and no inquiries. When that happens, fear begins to set in. Hold on a second. Perhaps she truly never fretted. Has she really gone on? Am I completely messed up now? Feeling like your heart is about to collapse? You know how it is. You start looking for signs that she still cares by revisiting every memory of your time together. Yes, I am fully aware of how that feels. And believe me when I say this, here is where the majority of guys fall short. You see, ignoring a woman does not always result in an immediate response. They are testing you, not because they are indifferent, the unbeknownst assessment you undertook. A fact about women that most men fail to grasp is that they despise playing games. Her desire begins to wane when she realizes she can control you entirely without making an effort. She isn't unkind or unappreciative. It's just that certainty is dull. Keep it in mind. When she was responding to your texts, very immediately and clearly enjoyed being with you. How amazing was that? But all of a sudden you couldn't quit fantasizing about her once she drew away. Well, would you believe it? She finds the same thing to be true. However, things get more complicated now. She doesn't immediately freak out when you ignore her at first. Why? Why? Because she thinks you'll mess up first. Oh, he's just playing hard to get. She thinks to herself, he will return. While doing so, she waits. She isn't a texter. She remains still. She acts as if she is oblivious. Is that so? It's excruciating. Most men crumble at this point. As soon as they notice that she isn't pursuing, they start texting her nonstop. I wanted to check in with you, you know? Is everything well with you? You don't seem very open. Have I messed up? The exam is immediately null and void. Why? Because she finally understands. You were never truly ignoring her. All you did was wait for her to say anything. And her job then, her withdrawal is becoming increasingly noticeable. So where do you stand? You spin around. Chris nearly destroyed it all. We need to discuss Chris. For several months, Chris had been dating Emily. Early on, she was constantly contacting him via text, planning arrangements, and even canceling other engagements in order to spend time with him. But with time, things began to shift. Her response was delayed. At the last minute, she began to cancel her dates. What about Chris? His heart raced. He began to put forth more effort, text more frequently, and organize even more extravagant dates. However, our efforts were fruitless. Bro, just stop texting her, Chris's pal advised him one day. Make room for her. She should miss you. Despite his reservations, Chris gave it a go. He opted not to text beforehand for the very first time. She was never asked to hang out by him. And as his companion had foretold, under no circumstances did anything occur. Emily remained reticent. Where is he? She never once asked. She was completely oblivious. After all, that was how it appeared. 2. The shift. She starts noticing your absence. Some time elapsed. Afterwards, a week. Nothing has changed. Chris was going completely crazy. Even though he never received the SMS, he continued to check his phone. He began to doubt his own judgment. She might not give a hoot, I suppose. I wonder if it wouldn't hurt to text her once. What if I permanently distanced myself from her? However, right before he broke down and sent her the first text, curiously, something occurred. Emily was fond of one of his old pictures. One at random. Several months ago, after waiting for an hour, she proceeded to see each of his Instagram stories. In the morning after that, "Dear stranger, how have you been?" she said in a text message. For what reason should one disregard her works even when they appear to be failing? So what went down? After being silent for an entire week, why did she return at this hour? Reason being, she experienced his absence for the initial time in months. You see, ladies don't go after free stuff. They try to regain what they feel they have lost. She didn't have to worry about Chris since he was constantly there for her, making an effort and waiting for her. He was hers, she knew. But as soon as he vanished, she felt the unease sink in at that moment. Hold on a second. Why isn't he sending me a letter? Is he chatting with someone else too? Did I let him go? Plus, the moment she even considered such ideas, so she extended her hand. This was not due to her homesickness. I'm not ready just yet, the reason being that she had to verify his ownership status. Methods for appropriately dealing with this situation. This is where the majority of men make a mistake. Their excitement at her first SMS causes them to relinquish all control. Hi there. You were the one on my mind just now. I have been longing for your presence. I propose that we spend some time together. I was expecting a text message from you. Oh my, there will be no more play. She calms down the second she realizes you were waiting for her. Oh, he's still mine, she realizes. I won't have to exert any effort. She quickly withdraws once again. However, if you manage it correctly, keep your calm, say what's necessary, and hold off on responding till later. A feeling of terror washes over her. She puzzles about the fact that he doesn't seem to be ecstatic about it. Does he intend to move on? She begins to pursue you at that point. First, she acts like she's moved on, but it's a lie. Forget about the fiction for a while. Has it ever happened to you that when you decide to take a step back by not texting first, by not chasing, by not being the one to always seek out, she acts as if she doesn't care, as if your silence is entirely irrelevant to her? Perhaps she's been more active on Instagram recently. Perhaps she is spending more time out socializing, laughing, and flaunting. Perhaps she even starts sharing photos of herself with other men. As you contemplate, oh my, she is completely unconcerned. Perhaps she's moved on from me already. Would you say it was that simple to replace me? How painful was that? Unreal. Someone has just publicly stomped on your heart after ripping it out. And what's worse, even now she hasn't bothered to visit you. Stay away from texting. No, you are absent from my life. I'm completely null, completely silent. It is at that point when uncertainties begin to seep in. What makes you wonder? Was disregarding her the wrong thing to do? Is it better to send her a text? Perhaps all she needs is a little encouragement. The worst case scenario is that I procrastinate too much and she finally goes on. Most males make a mistake in that particular area. Reason being, people freak out once they see she's moving on. Their stillness is broken. First, they try to gauge her level of interest by reaching out. At that point, what do you think happens? She emerges victorious. She now knows that she was never truly apart from you. All of her mind games were effective. Therefore, I will not be returning to you. Her withdrawal is becoming increasingly noticeable. Then what? Everything you had accomplished is now in vain. However, this is the crucial point to grasp. What is she currently demonstrating to you? That's not real. She has no intention of letting go. Because you're not here, she's acting out. She's determined to show herself and everyone else that she can get by without you. However, in truth, she's patiently anticipating something. Until you respond, she will do nothing. And when you fail to do so, at that point everything shifts. When your silence really hits her, that's when things turn around. What follows is the result of making a firm decision to remain silent. She acts indifferent at first. Posts are made by her. She enjoys having fun. She pretends everything is okay without you. But gently, it becomes depressing. Despite her lack of enthusiasm, she goes out nevertheless. Her laughter lacks authenticity. She is in social situations, yet she experiences feelings of isolation. Does it become dark? When she has some quiet time to herself, what will she do? At that point, she begins to fantasize about you. As if anticipating a message, she checks her phone. Completely null. She reads over your past chats. There has been no progress whatsoever. This is followed by, in time she begins to long for your presence. And not only in relation to you, the authentic you though, the man who put her at ease, who she sought and who she loved. She becomes the target of the terror at that moment. You should stop sitting there and asking whether she's moved on. She should be asking, did I let him go? He should have texted, right? Where is he? Wait now. She finally snaps at that point. At that moment, she extends her hand. That's when she starts to feel remorse about leaving. Why? Because in this second, it's you that she's after. 4, she tries to make you jealous because she's scared. The next step she takes may be discussed now, because she will do something crazy the moment she begins to panic. The moment she feels you could really be slipping away. Prepare to be envious, that's what she plans to do. You must be ready for this very second. What happens if you can't manage it properly? You'll be up back in her clutches in no time. The mental tactics women use when they feel like they're losing you. Imagine this. As you peruse Instagram, all of a sudden it hits you. Imagine a photo of her all dolled up, smiling and looking stunning. And now for the exciting part. There's a man with her. He could simply be a friend. Could be just any random guy. However, it may be someone she knows would make you feel intimidated. And that too without delay, your emotions plummet. Even if you put up an act, you can't help but feel that surge of, wait, you don't know who that is? Is she really getting over it already? Would you say it was that simple to replace me? For an instant, you feel the want to respond. Maybe you should just send her an SMS. You feel the need to visit. Your goal should be to reassure her that you are not gone. However, I have something to tell you. She desires that very thing. You should see it, she says. It is her desire for you to experience envy. She would like it if you broke first. Why? Because she will win if you respond. She receives evidence of your ongoing concern. What happens when she finally has proof? She unwinds. She no longer pines for you. Then what? Once again, it's you who's doing the chasing. Avoid losing this game by mastering its secrets. So what should you do if you detect that she is attempting to provoke jealousy in you? Completely null. You remain still. You clearly do not use texting. You completely disregard it. You can't pretend to care less if you do. Everything begins to be questioned by her. He should be responding, right? Does he truly not give a damn? Hold on. Is he really going to move on? She finally snaps at that point. Well, that's when she decides to go after you. It dawns on her at that moment that she has lost control. What happens after that? At last, you've achieved the pinnacle of your career. Conclusion. What you need to know to make this work. Now I'm going to ask you, do you find yourself losing interest too quickly? When you're with someone who doesn't appreciate you, are you opening yourself too much? The truth is that when you give up pursuing her, you make her confront an unexpected reality. She thought you would be patient. Her expectation was that you would persist. By her logic, you should remain unchanged. Everything changes, though, when you turn the script on yourself, when you stop seeing yourself as an option and start acting like an actor. So the next time you feel the want to bombard her with texts, explanations, or demands, resist the urge. Hold on a second. Make her feel like you're not there. Simply said, there are moments when doing nothing is the wisest course of action. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.